I used to believe our family was close in a healthy way. My mom, Melissa, always made the house feel warm, like she was the glue holding it all together. My stepdad, David, was around physically but emotionally disconnected. He was the kind of man who said little and traveled a lot. That left me and my mom spending a lot of time alone together, especially after I turned 18 and finished school. I noticed small things first. How she'd hold my gaze a little longer than usual, how her compliments changed. She stopped calling me kiddo. Instead, it became handsome, strong, or grown. She started making comments about how mature I was becoming, how proud she was of the man I was turning into. At first, I thought she was just being supportive, but then I realized it wasn't just words. It was in her eyes, her tone, the way she touched my arm or brushed her hand across my back for no reason. David didn't see it. Or maybe he didn't care. He was always focused on work, barely present during dinners, more invested in his emails than his marriage. I'd hear them argue late at night, low voices, angry whispers. The silence between them in the morning always felt heavier than any yelling would have. And somehow, after every fight, my mom became more affectionate toward me, almost like I was her emotional crutch. My girlfriend Lena was the first to question it. She asked me if I thought my mom treated me like a son or something else. I brushed it off, told her she was overthinking. But that question stayed with me. Things started getting weirder. One night, my mom came into my room and sat on the edge of my bed. She said she missed when I was little and used to fall asleep on her shoulder. She reached out and touched my face like she was studying it. Then she smiled, quiet and slow, and said, "You look just like the man I used to dream of being with when I was younger." I didn't know what to say. I laughed awkwardly and tried to change the subject, but the mood stayed. That night I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself that I was imagining it. But something had shifted. I just didn't know where it was leading. My days started blending into each other after that night. I stopped going out as much, partly because I didn't want to see Lena, partly because I didn't know how to act around my mom anymore. But the more I kept to myself, the closer she tried to get. It was like she could sense I was pulling away, and instead of giving me space, she leaned in harder. She began finding reasons to be near me constantly, helping with laundry even when I didn't ask, sitting next to me during meals, brushing my hair off my forehead while talking like it was completely normal. I couldn't tell if she was doing it consciously or if this was just how she was unraveling. But the boundary that had always been there between us, it was gone. Lena started sending messages that I didn't reply to. I didn't know how to explain that every time my phone lit up with her name, I felt guilty. Not because of something I had done, but because of what I was letting happen in my house. I wasn't stopping it. I wasn't encouraging it either. I was just letting it happen. That was the worst part. My mom started calling me her rock. She'd open up about how lonely she felt, how David treated her like furniture. She said I was the only one who saw her anymore, that I made her feel beautiful. It was flattering in a twisted way. I hated that it made me feel needed, but it did. There was a moment that pushed everything further than I ever expected. She asked me to help her zip up a dress she bought online. I hesitated, but she insisted. When I stood behind her and pulled it up, she leaned back into me, just slightly, and didn't move away. She looked at me in the mirror and said, "You always make me feel safe." I didn't move. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, frozen in this strange moment I knew wasn't right, but couldn't walk away from. Later that night, she came into my room and sat down next to me without asking. She said she had been dreaming about the past, about what her life could have been if she had chosen differently. Then she looked at me and said, "Maybe I was just waiting for the right person all along." I felt my chest tighten. It was no longer subtle. She wanted something from me, something no son should ever be asked to give. I started avoiding mirrors. I couldn't look at myself without remembering the things I hadn't said no to. I told myself that nothing had happened yet, not really. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. It wasn't just about physical lines. The emotional ones were already crossed. David had left for another 2-week trip. The house was quieter than ever, and my mom seemed lighter, more alive. She started cooking every night, asking me to eat with her. She poured wine for both of us, saying it was fine now that I was old enough. We'd sit for hours just talking about life, about her past, about nothing and everything. It didn't feel like a mother talking to her son. It felt like something else entirely. One night, she talked about how she felt trapped in her marriage, how she hadn't felt loved in years. I sat there listening, not saying much, just nodding. Then she looked straight at me and asked, "Do you ever feel like you were born in the wrong role? Like maybe life placed you in the wrong story?" I didn't answer. I didn't know how. She smiled like she already knew what I was thinking. After that, she stopped pretending to hold back. She would sit close, touch my hand during conversations, let her fingers stay there too long. When I stood to leave, she'd pull me back by the wrist softly, like she didn't want to be alone even for a second. It finally happened on a night that started like all the others. She had poured us drinks again. She talked about her regrets. Then she told me I was the only person who had ever truly seen her. Her hand touched my leg, and she didn't move it. I didn't move either. The moment hung there like it had been waiting to happen, and then it did. It wasn't sudden. It was slow, quiet, like we were both afraid of breaking something. And after, we didn't speak. She just rested her head on my shoulder, and I stared at the wall, feeling everything and nothing at the same time. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. My mind was racing, but every thought led back to the same place, what had happened, and how nothing could ever be the same again. I had crossed a line I didn't even know how to define. And the worst part was, I didn't stop it. I let it happen. The days after felt hollow. We didn't talk about what had happened. She acted like it was normal, like nothing had changed. She made breakfast, asked if I wanted to go grocery shopping, smiled at me like we were sharing some innocent secret. But I wasn't smiling. I couldn't even look at her without feeling sick. I thought the guilt would fade, but it got heavier. I stopped answering Lena completely. She kept calling. Then the messages turned into long paragraphs, asking if I was okay if something had happened. She said she still loved me. I couldn't even read her words without feeling like I didn't deserve them. I wasn't the person she thought I was anymore. Then came the day everything started falling apart. Lena showed up unannounced. I panicked. My mom answered the door and acted calm, too calm, like she'd expected it. Lena came in, tried to hug me, but I stepped back. She looked confused, hurt, and then she said it, "You're hiding something. I feel it." I didn't deny it. I didn't say anything at all. She turned to my mom, asked her directly if something was going on between us. My mom just smiled and said, "Don't be ridiculous." But that smile broke something in Lena. She walked out without saying another word. I knew that was the last time I'd ever see her. Later that night, I found a note from David on the kitchen counter. He had flown back early. He wrote that he knew something was wrong and that he didn't feel like a husband anymore in his own house. He didn't say it outright, but it was clear. He suspected something. My mom read it, folded it slowly, and didn't react. She just poured herself a drink and said, "Some people never see what's in front of them." I packed a bag that night. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay. She didn't try to stop me. She just said, "You'll come back. You always do." I didn't. It's been months now. I haven't spoken to her. Lena blocked me. David's gone. Every connection I had fell apart. All for something that never should have happened. I still don't know what to call it. But I know it wasn't love. It was something twisted, and no matter how far I go, part of it still lives in me. A shadow I can't shake, a line I can't uncross.